Hey everybody, welcome to This is Bodybuilding, the podcast series. I'm Michael Bryson and I'm here today with your 2020 Fitness Miss Olympia, Missy Truscott. Missy, how are you?
Hey Michael, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm awesome. Great to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me. You're the first Olympia champion that I've had on, so I feel very honored to have you.
I'm so excited. I'm a huge fan of yours and, you know, all the posts you make about bodybuilding on your Instagram page, and now you're taking off on and venturing into, you know, podcast, YouTube. And I think that's freaking awesome because how you write about people and the keen eye you have for bodybuilding and all the divisions, it's definitely special. And I think a lot of people can learn from you. So I'm glad you're venturing off into something else.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's nice to hear that from someone such as yourself. For you, what got you started in fitness? Were you a bodybuilding fan at all, or was it?
Oh yeah, so big time bodybuilding fan. Around the age of 16, 17, my older brother started watching YouTube videos of Jay Cutler, Evan Centopani, all those guys. And then, you know, he started showing me Adela Garcia from back in the day. And he was like, Miss, this is something you can do. And I'm like, wow, okay, like, let me try it. So there was a seminar back in like 2000, I think it was 2009, after Jay had won his Olympia title. It was like in October. And so he was still like super shredded. He came to Toronto. And there's a picture on my Instagram the first time meeting him. And I was just like, holy crap, like this guy is massive. I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to do this. And that's kind of how it started, you know, seeing those top dogs competing and just thinking to myself, like, this is something I want to do.
Did you have a gymnastics background or anything?
I did, yeah. So I did gymnastics from like 6 to 13 competitively. In Canada, I was a provincial level gymnast, so I didn't get like to Olympic level training or anything, but I did get pretty far with it. And then, you know, once I hit 13, I was like, I want to do something else. So I went into all-star cheerleading, which is another friggin' realm of its own. That is like hardcore, especially in America. Like, yeah. These girls are insane now. And then from there, you know, that's when the Jay Cutler videos started coming, and I'm like, okay, let's switch it up. And at the time I was a flyer in cheerleading. So that's when you get like tossed up in the air and doing all those crazy stunts. And I was on a co-ed team. So you literally have one guy tossing you and like catching you. And it got to a point where it was, do I want to risk getting hurt, or do I want to, you know, train and lift weights and do what I love? Because it was it was difficult to choose at the time, but it had to be done. And I chose bodybuilding and fitness. So I started going down that path. But I'm very grateful that I had cheerleading and gymnastics as a background, because it just helped with the whole muscle memory and being able to feel certain muscles and actually execute hard skills in my fitness routines now, because I have that confidence.
Right. It's so interesting that who inspires who, because for you to be inspired by like a 260, 70 pound Jay Cutler, it's interesting. Jay was like inspired by, the first person he saw was Chris Dickerson, who's the smallest Mr. Olympia ever. And pictures of him made him go, I want to do that. But he ended up doing something totally different, becoming this new level of size, like Ronnie Coleman. Right. And you saw this mass monster and went, I want to do this, but here you're right. Be a champion. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, him and like Dorian, you know, the old school, like blood and guts photos, like the black and white.
Yeah.
My husband and I, we have like those photos like around our gym. Just, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you about Matt a little bit later too, because I'm interested a little bit about him as well, because he's built pretty impressively himself. Your husband. Yep.
Yeah. He puts in the work.
Yeah. So, for you, was your first? So, when did you start competing? Was it 2009, 2010, or?
Yes. Yeah, 2008, 2009 is when I really started. It was an organization in Canada, just like honestly forget what it's called. Ultimate Physique Association. I had no idea, like there was different levels, like at the time it was called the OPA, but now it's the CPA in Canada,
Right.
which is equivalent to the MPC in America. So once I figured out how do you start climbing this ladder of bodybuilding greatness, well, you had to go through the CPA, the MPC. So my first CPA show was 2012, and it was the Mindy O'Brien show. I ended up winning that in figure and fitness, the overalls in both categories. And then I went on to the Toronto Pro Show, which is our provincial, like your national,
Right.
Not national, your like regional show.
Okay, to qualify for nationals.
Right. So I did, again, the crossover because I wanted to do both. At the time, Nicole Wilkins, was the figure Olympia. And, she was someone I looked up to as well. So when I went to the regional show, I won the overall in fitness. And then I placed fourth in figure. And I spoke to the judges and I'm like, where do you want to see me? Like, I was young. I think I was like 20 at the time. No, 22, whatever, somewhere around that age. And they said, we want to see you in fitness. Like, you could be the next Miss Olympia, like go for fitness. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So that year, August 2012, I went out to Vancouver where they had the Canadian Nationals, competed in fitness, won the overall in 2012, and then won my pro card. So I did it literally in 1 year. Well, one summer.
And then you did your first pro show that year too, right?
I did, yeah. I did the Valenti Gold Cup a month later.
Right. Where did you place in that?
I got my ass handed to me.
Okay, that's fine. New pro. That's.
I placed last. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I should have written that down, but then you took.
It was great though. I did. I took some time off. Yeah, I just, at the time I was young. I started when I was in Canada. I went to school to be a police officer, and that's the path I wanted to take when I was in Canada. But then moving to the United States, it's way different here being a police officer. Once I got here, I was like, this is not something I want to do anymore. So pretty much that schooling in the last 4 years of, what I went to school for, I kind of gave up on that dream here. And then I wanted to do something more in the medical field, something that you could always have a job to fall back on, more of a trade, a skill that people will always need from you. So I then went on and got my certificate in phlebotomy. So I can do blood draws, process specimens, so urine, stool.
You can still do that?
Yeah, I do. I can do that now. I stay up to date with my Washington State license just so I don't have to retest. But, after I'm done with bodybuilding, that'll be something I do down the road, go back into that field.
Awesome. It's good to have something to fall back on. I think a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
That's a shame. So yeah, that's smart.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first time I saw you compete in 2015 Olympia. But I didn't have you on my radar at all for that show or during that time. But then I saw you again the following year or 6 months later, I guess, at the Arnold Classic.
Oh yeah.
And I thought you were amazing in that show. You placed eighth, I think. Your physique was one of the better physiques I thought in the entire show. You were pretty streamlined from what I remember, right? You were smaller then, yeah.
Yes, I was. Yeah. They had me in first call out with I think it was Oksana's last year. And, Whitney was in that lineup. I think Bethany Wagner was in there too. Yeah, it was awesome. I was young at the time. It was just kind of to stand next to those girls at that time, I was like, okay, this is solidifying what I want to do.
Right.
I can do this, the physique round, this is great. And then, into the routine round, that's something I've really worked on the last, decade, is getting a more entertaining routine, trying to captivate the audience. And what I've done and what I've learned is that majority of the audience is there to see the mass monsters, to see the bodybuilders. So I need to captivate those fans. So I do that by, hitting like a front double bicep in my routine, or kind of like doing like a most muscular type to get them like, okay, what is this girl going to do? Not so much the flowy dancing kind of stuff, because really, I don't know if those fans want to see that.
That's fair. Yeah.
Try to do what I think they would like.
Smart. Yeah. I remember that show being really impressed with your physique, and I always thought that Bethany had a great physique too for the fitness girls, that she could have done really well.
Yeah. She also did like crossing over. I think back in the day did like the figure. Yeah.
She did New York Pro, I think, in figure. And I think she placed something like 4th, which was impressive. You've done some figure, yeah?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Do you ever think about, I know now you're Miss Olympia in fitness, but do you ever think about maybe competing there as well?
Right now, no, it doesn't really cross my mind. The reason why I did it in 2018 was my husband and I, we just really wanted to travel, and I kind of wanted to see, like, kind of dip my toes in and see where I really fit in, because at the time in fitness, I wasn't really getting, the higher placings that I wanted, or, felt like I was doing in my routine. But I really enjoyed doing figure. For me, not having to do like the fitness part, I was kind of staying injury free. It was at the time, but yeah, now my 100% focus is fitness.
Right. I think your physique, your fitness, I'll talk about your routines and stuff too, but physique wise, you've always been. 2017, was that in like an off year for you? Did you have like a little bit, did you have a different coach in 2017?
So 2017, I was living in America. I ended up moving back to Canada. I moved back home, and then that was kind of that year where I kind of just figuring out life again. That's actually when I started doing the whole phlebotomy thing, and what do I want to do with my life?
Because your physique in 2016 was pretty ripped, streamlined. 2017, you were a little softer. And then 2018 was when, bam, I was like, that's Miss Olympia.
Yeah. So the end of 2017, I think. No. Yes. The end of 2017 is when I met my husband. And 2018 is when we really made it official, and I moved here, and I mean, he is super inspiring, and he keeps me motivated, and he was like, is this something you want to do? And I'm like, yeah, like, I want to be Miss Fitness Olympia. He's like, okay, well, it starts today, like, go for it. And then that's when we did the Hawaii Pro. I won that, and then I think I placed 4th at the Arnold that year.
At the Arnold in 2018, you were 8th, but you were 4th.
Whoa.
You were 4th in Australia. It was like a big jump.
Oh, right.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's what happened.
No, I think you're right. I think I was, you're right. 8th at the Arnold, and then 3rd at the Arnold Australia.
Okay. And then you did really well in the Olympia. You were like 4th at the Olympia? Something like that. 2018. I have it here somewhere.
Was it 4th?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. You were 4th.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's when I started to like put the pedal to the floor. Was 2018.
Yeah. I mean, I even think for the Arnold, you should have been higher. You should have placed better. Your physique and your routines. And I always found it was weird. Like, for myself, looking at the scoring of the physique rounds, that you weren't placing first or second from like 2018, 2019. Like you should have been, your physique was like the best, but they continued to give it to, and I'm not taking anything away from, like Whitney has a great physique. Like she gets herself in really great shape.
Yeah.
And I have a huge amount of respect for her for doing so well, especially with she has serious injuries, neck, knee, at least this is what I've heard about her injuries. I don't know about everybody else's, but so I have great respect for her, but I just thought your physique, even like today when I pulled up a picture from, I think it was 2018, and you were in a first call out, I think, for the figure assessment round, whatever they call that, 2-piece round. I don't know, what do they call that?
Yeah, it's like the same thing as figure. So like, physique round.
Yeah. Just your shape is like, I think if I showed it to anyone and said, which of these girls, it was just a front relaxed type pose. Yeah. Who do you think wins this? I think everyone would point it at you. Because your shape was great, but your conditioning was also very good. So I don't know. I just felt like, I think in every division, there is a period of time people work and they earn a place, right? Yeah. In their division. If you're top 5 guy or gal in any division and you manage to achieve that for a few years, it's kind of hard to move them out and move the new blood in, I feel. For maybe it's marketing, I don't know what it is. And maybe I'm just being crazy, but I think I've noticed it really strongly in your division.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. And I feel like maybe that year, well, I know in my heart myself, like I probably shouldn't have won. I don't think I was ready. I think you have to mature in the sport and kind of take the judge's criticism and apply it. So you need to be asking for the feedback. You need to be improving. And that's one thing I do every year. I always make those improvements. I always come back tighter. I always come back saying what I'm going to do or doing what I'm going to say. So.
Yeah. I in 2018, physique standpoint, I would have had you winning. The fitness rounds were all really good. So, I mean, I had you placing better than 4th, but I don't want to. So, like Rael, yeah. I just feel like she got a few gifts along the way. That's just me personally. I think she's talented and amazing, but I feel like there were times when you were beating her when you weren't, and that's just how I felt.
Yeah, it's cool now about the fitness division is we have a lot of new blood coming in, like these young girls, and they're giving it, and they're coming in with like really awesome physiques. So one of the big things I wanted to do for the fitness division was have a figure-like physique and bring my degree of difficulty up, bring it so high that these younger girls are going to try to top my skills. And I see some of these young girls on Instagram and they are doing it. Like they are doing really, really well. And it'll be interesting to see when they start competing as pros, how they match up to the other pros on stage. Right. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm so proud of the fitness division and how much we're getting more of these girls to come in and start competing, because I feel like there's like anyone can compete, right? But now we have literally a division for everyone. So it's pretty awesome that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's cool, to be someone, I think, and in a way, Oksana elevated your sport, your division, with her creativity. Her routines were just amazing. I don't know that I'll ever see something as artistic as that and as beautiful as that. And when I would watch her routines, I would get goosebumps and think, like, wow, no one's going to be able to compete with this on this level. Then this year, your routine that I've never had, and I've said this before, maybe, I don't know, I don't think I've ever had a moment in a bodybuilding audience where I was as, what? like as when you came off that cage.
Uh,
It was so amazing. Like that moment, I've never seen anything like it in fitness, but it also just was a level of excitement to me that I don't think I felt in a bodybuilding arena unless they were announcing who Mr. Olympia was. So
yeah, I was going for that. So thank you. I'm glad that you had that reaction. That skill took a lot of practice. You know, I was literally jumping off of like a foot box, doing the front tuck and rolling. I had a buddy build me that actual cage. And then our plan was to actually drive to Las Vegas because we're up in Seattle. We were going to we had rented a U-Haul kind of box truck to drive ourselves to Las Vegas with it. But when they changed it to Orlando, everything kind of got scrambled. But I didn't let that stress me out or anything. I knew what needed to be done, put it on a freaking pallet and ship it there. So that's what I did. I didn't make any excuses. It wasn't about, oh, I'm going to change my routine and do a new one in 3 weeks or whatever. No, I was sticking with the plan. I shipped that cage to Orlando. It actually showed up broken, which was very scary because the whole back end was literally snapped in half. So we had 2 hours to set up before the night show. And we didn't have any help from the Olympia staff. It was just my husband and I. So Matt and I literally dollied this, 200-pound crate backstage, noticed it was broken. And thank God, he ended up finding this roll of black masking tape or duct tape on the ground. And he literally just cinched it. And he's like, okay, this is going to be fine. You're not going to fall, you're not going to break. It'll be good. So just everything that could have went wrong kind of went wrong, but it didn't. Once everything's in place, you just kind of got to roll with it. And
yeah, that's amazing.
It all worked out.
I love stuff like that, though. I was an actor. I went to school for acting, theater. I've done all kinds of different live performances, whether it was theater, I've done stand-up comedy, I've done musician, just playing singer-songwriter stuff. And people never know who watch the shows, whatever it is, all the things that can possibly go wrong right before the thing happens.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to be able to be a professional and pull it together. So that was awesome because I would never have known. That's pretty traumatic to see that the cage is broken moments before, the show.
Yeah. And it was 6 pieces. It was all the guy who made it, his name's Mark. He is he's just a jack of all trades. There was no screws or nails or anything like that. It was literally all doweled together. So I had a rubber mallet and we literally bang, 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 popped all the sides in and everything. And it was a tank. It had magnets on the door. So when I kicked it, it could swing and stay.
Wow.
Yeah. He did such a good job with it.
Yeah. That was awesome. It's really cool to know that you were going through those problems right before it happened. Just watch that I think it's my favorite fitness routine I've ever seen. So that you managed to pull it off that way.
Yeah. When I got off stage, usually you're out of breath and you're all on the ground. And you're but I had so much energy running through me after I got off stage. JM actually came up to me and he was like, Missy, I've been watching fitness for 15, 20 years. And I have never seen a routine like that before. That was by far the best routine ever. And when he said that, I was like, whoa, okay, maybe I won. Because backstage, I don't watch, so you don't get psyched out, if you're a professional. You can't.
Yeah. What's the point of it? You're right.
Yeah. So, you're just kind of in your own headspace, just not watching. So I didn't know how the other girls did. But when JM said that to me, I was like, whew, okay. Rush out because you might be getting first place and you got to look good.
Yeah, that was an amazing routine. So there's a couple girls who I really like in your division who I think this year are going to be top 3 with you.
Yeah.
Ariel Kadar.
Yeah.
I think her routine was amazing
Yeah.
And Jacqueline Baker, who I think she's really awesome. Her routines are incredible.
Yeah. She's improving every year. Like,
every year. Her physique
she's
is improving every year too. She's not gifted genetically with the prettiest shape, but every year she does whatever she has. She's improving and improving and improving. So I think she's great. I think the year before last, in 2019, I think she was way down in placing with the physique round. And then her routine was so high that she ended up placing fourth or something like that. So,
right. Yeah, both of those girls are definitely taking judges' critiques and their coaches, and they're applying it, and they're looking good. Like the young blood, everyone's kind of just like moving up now. So
right. Yeah. So like I was saying before about like how I think that there's times when it's hard to move an older regime out or whatever, the top placers. I think that's happening now, and we're seeing the new blood, the young bloods like yourself and those two girls and others finally doing what they should be doing, or placing how they should be placing. Oh, I had something in my mind and it just left me.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was I think it was about your routine. It's gone. We'll edit this part out. There was something I was like, you said something and I was like, okay, now it's gone. So we'll start fresh. During your routine, was there a part, did you feel any injuries or any pains at all during the physicality of that routine?
Yeah, so that prep, I actually had a shoulder injury. My elbow tendonitis was so bad that I literally couldn't even do biceps anymore. Leading into the Olympia, like my off season, John Meadows is my coach. So he had me on, we did like a 6-week block of 3 days a week was back exercises or back training, because that was actually my lagging body part.
Your back?
Yeah. So like whenever like standing next to Whitney, she's just dense, she's got that mature muscle. It's unless that was something I had to like work really hard on bringing up, was my back. And I knew I was going to be put next to her. So that was something we really focused on. But all of that like pulling motion really messed up my elbow. So I think I got like 4 cortisone shots in my elbow before the Olympia. Yeah, it was bad. I got 2 in my shoulder. Like we had to go through the rear delt to actually like get it, because it was through like the bicep tendon as well.
Yeah.
It was rough. I don't talk about injuries because I don't want like the sympathy. I don't want people knowing. Like I just push through it. I feel like I can talk about it now because
it's over. Right.
Yeah, it's over, and I am like injury free right now, so I feel totally healthy. I feel really good. That was rough, and it actually, the bicep tendonitis started hurting so bad, like literally the day of the Olympia. I was like, Matt, like this is crazy, and we're carrying this stupid cage to get up like onto the stage, and it was really hard at the time, but I'm so glad that it all worked out. And I took like maybe 2 weeks off of training after the Olympia and really started focusing on like hand positions, like during my lifts, and it's, knock on wood, like everything feels really, really good.
Awesome. Yeah. I asked because like it's incredible. Like the injuries, I've heard a lot of other girls talk about injuries, but you really haven't, like you said. And you would never know. Those routines. Your adrenaline seems so high once you came off that cage and you kind of pounded on the floor. It was awesome. It was so high because it was awesome.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the awards, the presentation of the Ms. Olympia title. It was kind of interesting. the mistake that was made with them announcing Oksana as champ before, they announced you as second place.
Yeah.
How did all that feel? How was that whole moment for you? The whole thing, from hearing that you're second, then, oh, there's a mistake and you won.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of confusion in my mind. It really happened so fast. And yeah, I was confused, but still like, what's going on here? I think the biggest thing that people don't realize is there wasn't, it was a math problem, but the math problem wasn't for first place. Like I was first place. Oksana was closer to third place than she was second place. So the discrepancy was there. It wasn't first place. So I immediately thought like, okay, Whitney got second. Like they're pulling back, they're switching it all up. Like, because if you look at the scorecard, she's closer to third than second. So I don't know. I was just confused, but I'm so glad that they figured it out on stage that moment, because if we walked off stage and then they switched it all up, like, I still have the title of Miss Fitness Olympia, the medal, the check, it cashed, like that's okay with me.
Right. Yeah, but you got to have your moment, which was great. And it was, Oksana is an amazing legend, but in the moment when she was when you were announced second, in the audience, it was sort of, people were like, oh, like it wasn't, the reaction.
I heard that too. I heard like kind of boos and like the size and like what's going on. And I just,
which is like, it says something, because Oksana, being the legend that she is, if it felt right, you being announced the second, everyone would have been like, yes, because Oksana won again. But because it was so that you just blew it, that routine blew everyone out of the water. So when you were announced the second, it was a feeling of like, oh no. And in my mind, I'm like, they can't. I was pissed, because I was like, I can't believe they just did that, because it was earned. It was so well earned.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it was cool, but so strange. And I felt bad for Oksana to, I would not have felt bad if she got second. Normally, if it was a second place, Oksana Krishina, it would have been like, okay, great, good for her.
Yeah.
But to have it seem that she won, and for her to feel in a moment that she had won the Olympia again, and have it not, it was a pretty bad mistake. I felt bad.
I know. Yeah.
Glad they fixed it, but just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen anything like that before. It was very strange. It was very strange to witness, to see Tyler come out. And who was the announcer? I forget now. It was Bob. Yeah.
Bob. Yeah. He said that I did an interview with Bob and Sean a little while back, and Bob, Bob had said, Miss, when I was reading the scorecard, I'm like, this is wrong, but I don't know, like I gotta announce it, kind of thing. So yeah, he said that like he knew in his heart or whatever, but
so who made that mistake? Who not necessarily the individual's name, but like who gives him those answers to those places?
So my understanding is that the judges, because fitness is judged, the pre-judge is like the physique round, right? And then the night show, they're judging the routine. So really fitness is like the only one still being judged that night, and unless there's like comparison rounds and that kind of stuff with open bodybuilding. But my understanding is the judges kind of take their scorecards and they give it to like the points analysis person. They type it up, do all the math, and then it goes to Bob. But I think because like it was such a new venue that Bob probably didn't know like where certain people are, because usually he can be like, hey, is this right? Like confirm with someone. But the stage was so big that like he couldn't confirm with people.
Yeah. It was an enormous stage, and that thought that was awesome for you ladies, especially. You guys had space to do stuff, and it was cool.
Yeah, loved it. I'm mentally kind of like prepping my routine now to really use that space for this year's Olympia, because it's so big.
It's going to be in the same place, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was awesome. It was great for all the divisions, because it was weird though. Like, the guys always stand so close that they're banging elbows and stuff like that. They still wanted to do that. They had all this space that they could spread out, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool arena. You said that you think about your body. You have more women's physique than women's figure in your mind when you're training. In terms of a look that you're going for, or no?
I think like a hybrid of both.
Yeah.
Like not as defined like quads and shredded glutes as like a woman's physique competitor, but very much like that intensity while training.
Yeah, I've seen you do some posing, like physique posing.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was on Instagram or you just sent me a couple years ago, but it was impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, I like to, I still like to pose hard, like whether it's like bodybuilding poses or women's physique, because I feel like when you're holding those like poses, you're getting really good muscle contraction. And I believe that the harder you pose and practice that, the deeper your lines are going to become. So, I'll do a quad shake on my right leg all the time. Like I'll shake the quad.
Yeah, you got great quads.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, I need to start doing the left one because I don't want like different looks here. Yeah.
Yeah. You said John Meadows. Does John Meadows do everything for you? Is he nutrition and training or?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been fully with John for the last, he didn't do my nutrition for this Arnold. I was with someone else, but he did my training. And then the Olympia, he did my training and nutrition.
Yeah.
So I'm actually his first Olympia winner too, which is pretty
awesome.
Yeah, he's been coach for a long time, and he's super successful in all businesses and bodybuilding. So
yeah, he had great success at the Olympia this year with you especially, but Terrence Ruffin also, he does his stuff, and there are others too whose name, I forget, Shanique, I think Shanique Grant. Yeah, I should have him on sometime because he's excellent.
Yeah, he's great. I'm going to be seeing him next week. Matt and I are going to Columbus to train with him. And then we're going to also my sponsor's gym, Elite FTS. So I'll put in a good word.
Awesome. What are your goals physique wise and routine wise for this 2021 show?
So I really want to keep tightening up my back, my ham glute tie-in area. I would like to get thicker hamstrings, which I think I'm on that trajectory right now. This off season has been like amazing. Like I said, I've had no injuries, so I've been really focusing on training. We've gotten some great equipment here, like in my home gym. So I'm just super blessed for that. And I'm really hoping to improve again. My goal last year was to like get on stage and just kind of dominate, which I think I did. I didn't get moved out of the middle spot, but I want that for this year too.
Yeah.
I'm working right now, we're 161 days out, and I have a lot of fuel in the tank right now, and I'm just going to keep going forward.
Do you have your routine already sort of planned out or no?
Yeah. So they announced that the Arnold is going to be September 25th, which I knew that they were going to have an Arnold. I just didn't know when. So beginning of this year, I need 2 routines. So I've been brainstorming with Matt, what are we going to do? What are we going to do kind of thing. So the themes are there, the music is there, and we're just kind of rolling with it now. So choreography is happening. I feel good. One of the biggest things for me is I always want to be prepared, because the people coming to the shows are spending a lot of money for tickets to see us. And I want to put on a good show and make sure I have a really well choreographed routine that's entertaining. So
do they know yet where the Arnold will be?
I don't think so. They're saying Santa Monica Pier, which is kind of, I don't know how that's going to work, or Columbus.
Do you have a preference?
I would love it to be in California.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. If I was still living in New York, I would want it to be in Columbus, but I'm in Texas now. So it's kind of, I don't care which way it goes, but California would be cool.
Yeah.
More to do.
For sure. And it's like outside. I think it would be outside, you know.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure.
Like old school bodybuilding.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't sure that you would do both shows or if you would just go to the Olympia, but it's good to know that you're planning on doing both.
Yeah. I actually wanted to do Toronto too this year. They're saying August 20th. But I don't think that's going to happen, honestly, because the border being closed still, and Canada just doesn't even have vaccines for, like, they're not even vaccinating people like 18 yet, or 18 over. So it's still only going to like first responders and pregnant ladies.
What is are cases high where you are?
In Seattle.
What's that?
In Seattle.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I forgot you're in Seattle. But are cases high in Canada?
I think they're going up again. Yeah.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully that changes. But yeah, so the 2 shows for sure. Would you do something after the Olympia?
Possibly. There's the Legion Sports Fest. I won that in 2018, I think. So I'd love to go back there. Chris and Boyana, they're awesome people. They're the promoters for that show. And it's kind of like, you know, my coast on the West Coast now. I really am trying to get out and show face more on, you know, people's events, promoters' events. And if I can compete, that's awesome too.
Yeah.
I have a guest performance in November for the Craigs. They do a show in Idaho.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to discuss that maybe we haven't talked about?
You want to talk a little bodybuilding?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay.
Why not?
Who do you got in the run? Are you allowed to like voice who you want to win this year?
I don't know who's going to see what's going to happen in terms of, I don't know that Phil will do the Olympia.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he won't. It'd be really cool if Flex Lewis could pull it off and win the Olympia. I'd also, you know, my favorites, William Bonnick's one of my favorites, just as a human being too. So I always root for William.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right now, and I was talking about this sort of with Phil, and you know, everybody talks about the 90s as being like this great time in history of bodybuilding. There was so many, you know, you would see Dorian Yates versus Flex Wheeler, Kevin Lebroni, Sean Ray, like the best were all on stage together. And I feel like that sort of happened again during Phil's tenure, where it was Phil, Kai Green, Dennis Wolf, Branch Warren, Dexter Jackson. These were all people who, Sean Roden, all people who were like top guys who would be great in any era if you put them in.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel like it's sort of lacking that sort of, I don't know, like I just don't see that level right now.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to say who I don't know if Rami's going to be a dominant winner. Like if he's going to continue to win, probably he could.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about it?
Well, I'm excited to see Rowley come back.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, he was here in Seattle at the Emerald Cup, and he's freaking massive.
Yeah.
He looks great. So I'd like to see kind of where he like sizes up next to Rami. But you know, there's like the young guns coming in too, like Ian Valier and
Yes.
Hunter. Hunter looks good too.
Right. And that's why I think we're sort of like in a transitional moment for me, where like those guys are still coming up, but at the top right now, it's missing like that level of, not to say take anything away from people like Brandon Curry, I mean, and Big Ramy, they're great, but
yeah,
whether they're on that same level as I don't know, the guys that I mentioned from like 2013, 2014, 15, like that era was very strong in my opinion. But yeah, Rowley, someone who I think leading up to last year's Olympia, they were saying he was in tremendous condition. He was really going to come in shredded. And I think that he could really do well against Ramy. And he's got, to me, better proportions. I like his shape better than Ramy's.
Yep.
So it would be really interesting to see. There's somebody else who I think is going to do really well. He placed like, I think 7th or 8th last year is Akeem Williams.
Oh, right. Yes.
Another huge dude who, and now he's working with Justin Miller as his coach, who was George the Bull Peterson's coach. I think we're going to see, if he comes in shredded, I think he can also hold his own against those guys.
Yeah. Interesting. There's a couple dudes over in Europe too that are looking like mass monsters, and like hopefully, you know, they can qualify and come over, because I forget the guy's name, but I think you've posted about him before. He's got a shaved head.
Yeah. I think he actually competes in IFBB Elite, whatever the other organization.
Oh, so not. Oh, okay.
I don't think he's with. I think so. He's got enormous arms. He's huge. He's got a thin neck. Kind of looks a little odd because he's so big. But yeah, I think he just won something recently. But I don't think it's with the Pro League. I think it's with the European. Yeah, I don't know. I might be wrong, but I think it says IFBB Pro Elite or IFBB Elite Pro, something like that on his Instagram. But I think all of the divisions are kind of like, the division that I really love right now is Classic Physique, because I think it's very strong. The guys like Chris Bumstead, Terrence Ruffin, Breon Ingsley, these guys they're all awesome, very competitive. Totally.
Yeah, they're good ambassadors of the sport. Like Chris Bumstead, he does a lot, and he's super marketable, and I think he's doing a lot for that division. So
and 212 too. I think when Flex left 212 and Jose Raymond left with his injury, I think he might be coming back. He's looking really good on his page. But when those guys, when they left, and some of the other guys just got a little bit older and injured, I think there was a period where I thought, man, 212 is kind of dying. But then guys like George Peterson, Keon Pearson, other people who moved from Classic to that have brought new life to that division. And I thought it was, and Sean Clarita, who is also a John Meadows guy. No, Matt Jensen. Never mind. Sorry.
I think he used to train with them.
Okay, maybe. Yes. Okay. I knew it was in my head somewhere. But anyway, he's phenomenal. So the 212s, I think, are doing really, really well. I just feel like the open division is in sort of this transitional phase where there's new blood coming up. I think by next year, I think it's going to be better. Yeah.
No, it'll be interesting to see. I have some favorites, so I'm excited to see kind of where they place, and they have the like longevity right now that they're going to be around for a while, like Ian and James. So it'll be cool.
Hunter too is someone who I think he's got a bright future because he's got no weaknesses really. he had a pec tear, but it kind of covers it up in most poses. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, you'd notice that.
Yeah. No, I guess a lot of people don't, but that's good that because he's obviously doing his job and covering it up well. So.
Yeah, I remember him talking about it on like a podcast, like where he didn't train for a while or something because of it.
Yeah, to me, I only see it. I really only see it when he gets leaner too. It's like when he's not that lean, it's not noticeable. But when he's leaner, it's noticeable. And some only, but it's not horrible. There's things that I've seen, but yeah, he's a potential future Mr. Olympia for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, him or Ian, that like they have that Jay Cutler look. That
Ian's freaky. He gets that freaky dry look, and he's big. Yeah, he's very good.
Totally. Yeah. It's going to be a really good couple years, you know?
Yeah.
The thing I got to say about like my time this year at the Fitness Olympia was one of the hardest competitions probably ever in the fitness industry. Oksana being there, 4-time Miss Fitness Olympia, Whitney, 2-time Miss Fitness Olympia, and then Adela was supposed to come back.
Right.
8-time. I mean, I wish it's so unfortunate that she got injured and she wasn't able to get on stage, but that would have been like the most epic lineup ever.
Absolutely. It still was. It probably still was, but yeah, it would have been another level there with her.
Yeah. I think she's kind of like talking like she's coming back. So
she's not a kid anymore. So it's interesting.
I'm excited. I hope she comes back. I think it'd be good for the sport. I know she's probably got a lot of fans still, you know, who'd like to get on stage.
Is Oksana, I guess, is going to be doing it again? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I'm not sure though.
I don't know. She looks like she's training, so I imagine. But that was you were in a very strong lineup, like because you had those legends who you mentioned, but also the ones who are younger and coming up, like yourself, Ariel, Jacqueline Baker, were all at their best too. So it was probably the best, one of the best, if not the best Fitness Olympia ever.
Yeah, everyone came in like on, so that was great. The pictures are awesome.
Yeah,
I think placings were perfect.
Yeah. It was really, really well done. Yeah. The only thing that would have been, they got it right. Is there anyone that you want to thank or mention or anything like that?
Sure. So obviously I got to thank my husband. I wouldn't be on this journey if it wasn't for him. He keeps me motivated and inspired to live this dream and to keep pursuing it. I also want to just quickly thank my sponsors, Granite Supplements, FlexiBell Couture, Elite FTS, the Chicken Pound. They're awesome. They've really helped me out throughout my preps and everything. So I'm grateful for them. And Michael, I got to thank you because you've been shouting me out on your Instagram page for years now, even when I was like a nobody and people just kind of looked past me. So I appreciate you, always being on my side and putting more eyes on the fitness division because we need it and you do a great job promoting us. So I'm in every division. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. I try to give most of the divisions attention. I don't know if I can't possibly, give it equal attention, but I try my best to do what I can. And I want to thank you because you make me look good. You make it, and there's others too who make me look like I know what I'm talking about sometimes by actually ending up doing really, really well. So
Years in the making.
I kind of knew you were future Miss Olympia or should have been. And so I'm glad it really came to fruition. So
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate everything you do and all the positivity you put back into the sport. So yeah, I'm happy to be on your team.
Thank you. And thanks so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate you doing this. To have an Olympia champion on is it's a good thing. Really happy about it.
Thank you. And thank you for having me, and good luck with everything. And I will see you at the next show, the Arnold, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to end this, but stay on for a second, if you would.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, just want to say thank you to everyone who does watch this. It's Michael Bryson, Missy Truscott. This is Bodybuilding. Thank you so much.